Assalamu alaikum listeners, and welcome to the Tech Clinic with me, your host Yasar on 107.6 FM, and my co-host, Brother Ghufran Shah. Assalamu
Assalamu alaikum, Yasar. Co-host, Bagom.
co-host.
Assalamu alaikum, Yasar. How are you doing today?
Alhamdulillah, fine. And how are you?
Alhamdulillah. So the change in the timing for Maghrib Salah has caused us to start a little bit later, but I'm sure we'll be done within time, I hope.
Inshallah.
Inshallah ta'ala. So you have a nice week?
Yes, a great one.
Yeah?
Alhamdulillah.
And enjoying the weather?
I prefer rain.
Yeah, so it's raining today. The mercy is back for you.
Yes, Alhamdulillah.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Should we get started?
Yes. momoawards.co.uk. So if you haven't got your nominations voted for yet, Momo, M-O-M-O, awards.co.uk.
I didn't even ask him for that shout
Oh yeah, I thought I'd get it. On the car on the way here, you said that you couldn't remember the URL, so it's Momo, M-O-M-O.
Oh, you class act.
Awards.co.uk. Vote for Yasar Tanveer, the producer of the most
Tanveer?
innovative. Yasar Tanveer, the producer of the most innovative radio show.
Oh shucks.
2013.
You're involved. You're involved.
2013.
And with the Ghufran Shah.
Come on, let's get to the questions. Formalities over. Got some nice questions this week. So, without further ado,
Okay.
maybe I should read the questions. You should answer them today.
Okay. Excuse me. You got me there. I'm like, I'm sure I haven't prepared for this. So, first question: what are the main specs one should look into when buying a computer? My budget is around £400 and will be used for light gaming and 3D animation and other basic stuff like internet browsing.
Okay, so main specs. Main specs really. I'll just list some of the key points which you should consider when you're purchasing a computer. A fast hard drive is always a good thing. Nowadays you can get SSD drives, solid state drives, which are ultimate in speed, certainly for boot up. They can reduce the boot up time. And for some important applications that use a lot of disk access, they can be very good. Memory as well, a minimum of 4 gigabytes, ideally 8 gigabytes of RAM should be chosen for or looked at.
Okay.
And also capacity of the hard drive. Don't go for anything less than 1 terabytes now. If you see a 500 gigabyte machine, they're skimping a bit. I mean, 1 terabyte storage is
it's a must.
It's a must. And then i5 processors minimum. Go for i7 if you can.
Yeah.
So for around £400, you can get a reasonable Dell desktop PC, which can be used for your requirements of light gaming. 3D animation you might struggle, so you probably need an i7 dual core or even quad core, depending on the type of animation that you're doing. But £400 is a nice budget, so I'd recommend you go into your favorite PC store, have a look at some of the deals you have in store, and then also shop around online as well. So don't buy the first thing that you like. Always look online, like we said before.
Yeah.
There's some deals to be had.
Yeah, i5, i7 obviously runs them more than just the normal quad cores processors.
Indeed.
You get much more processing power out of them. So, there's much more that is required and much more that you can get out of them as well. Moving on to the next question, best gaming console and why?
Okay, we've had similar questions in the past, so best is always relative. The two leading consoles at the moment, I think, are the PS3 and the Xbox 360.
Yep.
PS4 has been announced for end of this year release in the US and Europe sometime next year. But hold fire, let's not make judgment yet, because May the 22nd is when Microsoft will be giving further details of their next generation Xbox console.
Mm-hmm.
Been given a name of Xbox 720. That's not the official name. Hopefully it will be announced on that release on May the 21st. So best gaming console, depends what your requirements are. I think for the best online experience, I would really recommend Xbox 360.
Okay.
Lots more content there.
Mm-hmm.
The way you can interact with your friends when you're doing online gaming is pretty impressive.
Sure.
It's not free though. It's about £30-40 a year for an Xbox Live subscription, but it's well worthwhile if you spend a lot of time online. The PS3 online experience is good for gaming. It's free, so if you just want to play the odd game casually, I'd go for the PS3.
With the Blu-ray player?
Yeah, sure, with the Blu-ray player. So if you want to have a dual-purpose console that plays Blu-rays, as you say, go for the PS3. Xbox 360 can't play the Blu-rays. And also if there's certain titles you like GT5, the Gran Turismo series of games.
Mm.
They are exclusively to the PS3. If you're into like shoot 'em ups, then the Halo series is exclusive to the Xbox. So
Sure.
still pretty good consoles. Lots of deals to be had, but hold fire until the 21st of May. So let's see what the Xbox 720 in double quotes is all about.
Yes, and then compare the two. Moving on to the following question, which is it possible that after I had my laptop screen replaced, that it would affect programs to freeze on load?
Possibly, depending on who actually did the repair, if it was a shop or yourself or your friend, maybe you got a loose connection, or the actual video card may have compatibility issue with the actual screen, or there may be some compatibility issues with the motherboard.
Okay.
Do the usual things. If it's the actual machine freezing, and you can, if you're halfway through some documents and that being saved, for example, could be a problem with your hard drive. So run a scan disk check on your hard drive. The usual applies. Run an antivirus check. Try booting in safe mode and running some applications. If it's a particular application that's causing it to freeze, then that's a good sign that it looks like something wrong with the application or a hard drive issue. If the screen is freezing, then if you think it's a screen, try plugging your computer into an external monitor if you can, and just seeing if the screen still freezes on the external monitor. Okay, so it could be a number of things, but
that's the way to narrow it down.
Got to narrow it down, really, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next question. How does one go about setting up a VPS, a virtual private server?
Okay, a virtual private server, for those of you who don't know, a virtual private server, it's really it's leveraging what's very common nowadays, virtualization. So here you could have one physical machine, which is using the processor power on that physical machine to host a number of virtual machines. So one physical machine could host, say, 5 virtual machines, and those 5 virtual machines appear as though they're one machine in its own right, but it's it is actually a virtual machine. So many examples of this are where you can go to ISP and you can purchase what's called a dedicated server account, where you've got full control of that server, and you can use that to actually partition specific websites for your customers. So if you've got, say, 5 customers who want to have separate websites on separate machines, then you could have 5 virtual private servers for them.
Okay.
So the one way of setting it up is to go to a reputable ISP and opening up a VPS type of account there, also called dedicated hosting. They're quite common nowadays. All depends on your requirements as well. So if you want to have a play with this yourself, you can go to Amazon EC2. That's their cloud offering, and we spoke about this a while ago, where you can, in fact, for no cost, free of charge, you can order a Windows 7 machine with a certain amount of memory and storage space, and that's a machine that you've got access to in the cloud. So it'll give you remote access into it, and it's a virtual server in the cloud, which you can start using for demos or prototyping, doing some things that you're interested in.
Sure.
Amazon have a free service for the EC2. Anyone can use that. You just need to sign up. It's free registration. Get an Amazon account. Amazon also have a paid service where you can get a more powerful machine. For example, if you want a quad-core machine that's capable of running SQL Server, it's an enterprise class machine which has, say, 16 gigabytes of RAM, so a pretty large type of machine. Then you can certainly order that. There will be a cost. The typical cost will be worked out on the amount of usage you have of that machine. So in some cases, for a medium type of configuration, it may charge you $1 per hour of usage, which is pretty small, to say the least. Some cases it might be 50 cents per hour of usage of that particular machine. So there you can order multiple virtual machines, each serving the purpose of a virtual private server. So you may find the Amazon option may be cheaper than your ISP option. It'll be interesting if that particular person who raised that question could give more information about what they're using the VPS for. Then we can maybe kind of suggest a particular type of server,
Okay. So let's move on to the next question. Hopefully that's answered it for the person who asked the question. What is the latest software version for the Nokia Lumia 620, and how do I update it?
Okay, the latest version of the Nokia Lumia 620, it actually is, well, the latest software release is 10.3407.1308.00 something. Quite a long version number. That is the latest release, and these handsets should tell you if there's an update available. So if you have Wi-Fi access on the handset, turn the Wi-Fi on and make sure you can surf the internet. And because it's a Windows handset, it should recognize there's a new Windows update available. If there's something wrong with your Wi-Fi, then try the 3G. If you don't have 3G and you don't have Wi-Fi, you've got a problem because you won't be able to know if there's an update. So the one of the challenges of working with these Windows handsets is that when they go online, they see there's a new update available.
Yeah.
And the update settings or the process will be guided on the handset. So you update it from the handset.
Okay.
Okay, so just for more information about that release, it's got improved touchscreen functions. It can have lots of multi-touch actions, which actually work now. They never used to work, or they were working incorrectly before.
Okay.
Better voice quality with Bluetooth headsets, enhanced camera performance, and various improvements to the stability of the system, performance and usability. And whilst you're talking about updates, the HTC One has an update which apparently really makes the camera, it improves the camera tremendously, which I've not upgraded it yet, but I was at a wedding yesterday, took the HTC, did me quite proud. The actual quality of the pictures seemed a lot brighter, more colourful than the iPhone 5 did.
Okay.
So I did a nice and interesting comparison. Problem I had with HTC was because it's a larger screen, a 4.7-inch screen, bigger than the iPhone. If you've got nimble fingers, then it can be quite awkward holding it and pressing the controls, whereas the iPhone is a lot easier to use because it's a smaller screen. But I really want to get my hands on the Contender, the S4 with a 5-inch screen to see how that behaves. But it's the plastic thing which is putting me off. But let's not make any judgments yet. Hopefully we'll get our hands on it soon.
It's not that bad, you know. I've had my hands on it. Well, it's been officially launched yesterday, so I've been playing around with it. It's not that bad to hold. It feels more premium than the S3.
Oh yeah? Okay.
Yeah.
Maybe thicker plastic, huh? Samsung going to town there.
I guess. Okay, next question. Could you please give out some best practices for web SEO?
Okay, so web search engine optimization. So SEO is a technique used to improve your rankings when people search for something related to your website.
Okay.
So we talked about this before, I think, but the old school techniques of making sure your pages have keywords and there's a keyword meta tag in there, meta keywords about your page. That still applies, but it goes down a lot more. Google get really intelligent now, so the Google robots are really analyzing your website. So you really got to make sure your website is consistent and has pretty decent content. So when you're looking at when you've got a content-rich website on each page where you've got images, for example. So the basic things like making sure if that image is not displayable in a browser, has an alternative useful text description.
Okay.
If you have a picture name called default one or picture one, then Google will see that and that will probably work to your detriment. So it's all about making sure your web has been optimized at the content level. So one thing you can do is, if you load your website in a browser and turn off JavaScript and disable images,
right? So
you're just looking at your text-only content and see how the page appears. If the page can't be rendered, then whatever SEO technique you've used is not working.
Okay.
You'll find your page will appear lower in the rankings. So one thing, or a few things to check when you've disabled JavaScript and images. If your logo is on the page and it's not showing, do you see alternative text descriptions such as your company's name, space logo, for example, or maybe some description about your company? If the images are on display, does the navigation still work? So have you got alternative ways of navigating your website? If your website is broken because images are not being displayed, then that's going to work against you. Okay. So content formatting, again, a lot of these things are, I'm mentioning this because you've got a thing called robots which are going out and analysing your website. So the robot is not actually seeing physically your page. So what appears to the human eye, just because it looks wonderful, that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to have a higher ranking in the SEO results.
Fair enough.
So yeah, again, your content has to be rich. It's not just about building any old website and sticking on a few keywords against some pages. The content has to be rich, has to be relevant and up to date. Yeah. If your main articles must be moving with the time. So if there's a hot topic trending on Twitter, for example, you really need to kind of tag onto that almost. So your content has to be rich and up to date. So there's no such thing as a one-time SEO. It's got to be an ongoing thing to improve the performance of your website.
Ever changing.
Yeah, sure. So that's one way, making sure your site's been SEO enabled and your updating all the time.
Yeah.
You may have a strategy of using Google AdWords where you've got a budget each month. May range from £10 to £20 to thousands of pounds. So you're having paid adverts. So when somebody searches for a keyword such as I don't know DIY buying bricks, for example.
Yeah.
If you're a bricklayer, then you could, as a bricklayer, buy ad space. So based on those keywords people are searching for, you're paying for your ad to appear on the results as high as possible. All goes down to what is your overall marketing strategy. It's not just about getting a web developer and sticking keywords on each page. It's got to be feature and content rich. Okay.
Super duper. Right, moving on to the next question. Norton is not updating anymore on my PC, but works fine on my laptop. It just comes up with live update had an error updating the virus definitions. The PC is running Windows 7 and all Windows software is up to date. Any reason why this will be happening?
Okay, first time I read this question, I thought make sure the PC is actually online. It can connect to the internet. Make sure Norton's licensed for two versions, 2 instances. Has it been activated on the PC? But just reading the question again, as you read it, it says not updating anymore, which implies it has been working at some point. So there could be somebody's installed some software that's disabled the service. Maybe the live update feature isn't actually running.
Right.
Some kind of permission problem. What can you do to check? I would, if you can find out depending on, you're on Windows 7, look at the system log, see if there's any error messages. Where you've actually installed your Norton, there may be a logs folder there with some kind of log file that Norton's writing into. Usually when it fails, there should be an error message, an error code. If you can get that code, stick it in Google and see what that error code returns. Okay, but it may just be a simple licensing issue that maybe your free trial period has expired and it's no longer activated on your main PC and it's still working on your laptop.
If it is a service issue, is it worth the customer, the person who's asked this question?
Customer?
As customer. I don't know why I'm going to customer mode. Come back to work now. For the person who's actually asked this question, the questioner, to actually go into services on the computer.
Yeah, go into services, control panel services, go to Norton antivirus, exactly, see if the service has been disabled. Maybe someone's been browsing to bad websites, or you've been installing some dodgy software that's actually installed another service that's disabled the actual Norton. Very common. You may be affected by some virus software or some spam. So it could be some more serious issue. If that is the case, you need to kind of disable your internet and do a clean sweep of your machine. Again, boot up in safe mode and see if you can run the antivirus there. If you want the updates, then you can always download the updates on your laptop, from your laptop onto a USB stick, and then manually apply the updates, and then do a sweep. Again, do that process whilst you're offline on the PC. And that may fix your problem.
So no internet connection, and then try it.
Yeah, so the actual Norton Live Update service, unless you've disabled it, it should not be disabled. It's always an automatic service that starts up on boot up.
And it's always running in the background.
Absolutely, and if it's been tampered with, it implies some foul play. Yeah,
I like
foul
that.
play.
Foul play. Definitely. Best wording ever. Okay, let's move on to the next question. Could you please tell me what are the best sites, free and paid ones, for web CMS systems?
Okay, so web CMS. A CMS system is a content management system.
Okay.
And let's talk about CMSs first. So these have been around for a while. And a content management system is all about making your content available to your end users as quickly and easily as possible.
Yeah.
It's all about the way you can publish and edit and modify your content being your website, and ongoing maintenance should be easy of your website. So rather than being a HTML programmer or a JavaScript guru, these CMS systems make your job as a publisher easier, because they allow you to upload your message in your website in a more fast, slick kind of way.
Yeah.
So these have been around for a while. A lot of the paid content management systems are for a specific purpose. So maybe if you're a letting agent, you could buy a letting agency type of CMS, which has a back-end database for you to upload all your property details. If you're a retail store, you can get a CMS which focuses around selling products. So some of these, quite a few of the really good ones are paid for. A lot of the e-commerce ones are focused around the number of products you want to sell, and they can have some kind of model where you're charged based on the amount of product you sell. So you can start off by buying a package which is based on 100 products, and it'll cost you, say, some percent to on each product you sell. Other packages may have, or labels may have 1,000 products. So a lot of the paid ones that are specifically for a purpose. The free ones, however, there's lots of free ones there, and you'll find a lot of the paid ones are based on the free ones, where people have built some content of their own, they've got their own intellectual property, they've built a solution, and then they resell it. So a lot of the CMS systems are based around WordPress. A lot of the e-commerce ones are pretty standard WordPress type of sites with a specific theme and specific content. WordPress, you'll find it's a high percentage. Last time I checked, it was about 70% of a lot of the websites were based around WordPress. Okay, so one of the most powerful free site engines, CMS engines, is based on WordPress. So you can download WordPress.org. You can create your own blog, or you can have your own virtual private server, install WordPress yourself, and then go and you can just start building your own content around the WordPress CMS. Very popular WordPresses. Been around for a while, and WordPress has lots of plugins and themes, some which are free. There's a lot of free stuff out there which plugs into WordPress, and there's also paid content. So there may be specific professional-looking themes that may cost you $50 a year to use, or $50 for its full lifetime to use. So depending on what type of site you want, a lot of the free themes are pretty dry. It's not all of them, some of them, but the really good ones, again, they're not too expensive, but it makes your site look really slick. So WordPress is very customizable in terms of themes. I like WordPress, I've used that a lot. So there's also something called Joomla. Joomla, a lot more customizable. In the old days, it started off as being really popular. I don't think it's as popular now. So now I used to do a lot of Joomla stuff, and then moved away from Joomla into WordPress. I think that's a normal transition I've seen. So Joomla, again, very powerful CMS, lots of plugins, lots of e-commerce sites available in Joomla. And these are mainly based around PHP and MySQL. Okay. So if you want to host one of these sites yourself, you've got to make sure your ISP supports PHP 5 and above, and also MySQL. So two of my favorite ones are WordPress and Joomla. There's also something called Drupal. There's Silverstripe. There's Cushy CMS. There's Frog CMS, Modex, TypoLite, Dot CMS, Expression Engine, Radiant CMS, and Concrete CMS. These are all free CMS systems. So some may be more appropriate for your usage than others. So just do a Google on any of those, and you'll be able to download those and have a play. Okay. A lot of these sites have demo versions, so without having to actually install them, you can experience the usage of them by looking at some of the demo themes available.
Good stuff.
Yeah, so there was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 free CMS solutions.
How super is
that?
Go
to town, yeah.
Right, and last and final question. What cheap handset can I get from a local retailer, which is a smartphone and costs nothing more than £120?
It's an interesting question. I think the £120 was significant, or maybe it's by chance. So Nokia launched a smartphone for the emerging markets, priced at £120.
Okay.
And it was the Lumia 520.
Right.
Okay, so that's a pretty new model. Runs Windows Mobile. I think it runs Windows.
Windows 8, isn't it?
Or one of those, Windows 8.
Windows 8.
Yeah.
One of those.
One of those.
He goes old school. Windows Mobile. Yeah, Windows 8. Yeah.
If you don't want Windows, then there's quite a few. I've seen HTC one variants that are sub £100 available.
Right.
And they're based on Android. If you're an anti-Windows fan or you're a pro-Android fan, then they may be more appropriate. But the actual latest one, which will be available in a local retailer, is the Lumia 520.
520. 520, eh?
And that was the last question.
That's the last question.
Yep.
There we have it.
Live and direct. Radio on 107.6 FM. The most innovative, or possibly the most innovative radio show in the world.
Are we blowing our own trumpet here?
No. I don't think we've got any listeners. I think all these questions are made up. Is that being pessimistic? No, I'm only joking.
Where did you get that one from?
I'm in a cynical mode.
Seems like it. You can go on the Facebook
Yeah,
page.
no, you're right. Yeah, so we had some nice.
Listen,
So this VPS question and the CMS one, there was a real human who asked that.
I like that.
Wasn't a droid.
It wasn't a bot.
Yeah.
Definitely not a bot. Definitely not this time.
Okay. Well, once again, Yasser, it's been a pleasure. It's been a pleasure once again, Yasser, and thank you for your hospitality again,
Oh,
having me on your show.
too kind. Same here. Having my show, it's our show. Don't do that. Right, that's the end of the Tech Clinic. We'll be back next week, inshallah.
Inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.